What's up, Instagram? Welcome back to the We Are Just Dating page. My name is Tim, and this is my beautiful wife, Pauline. And today is Tuesday, our favorite day of the week, where we answer your anonymous questions that you answer in the link in our bio. This week is actually real special because I could tell it was a question based off our last video. So if you haven't checked out our last video, go back, look at that in IGTV. We talked about how can Christian dating couples abstain from sex, right? How do we do that? And one of the things we brought up in that video was emotional intimacy. And someone asked in the video, well, why don't you just read?
All right, I want to say you want to take my job. Okay. This week's question is, what does emotional intimacy really mean? What does that look like in conversation with the person you're courting?
This is a great question because I feel like it's very practical. I feel like it's a question that's deeper than sex or how do we how do I get to like this person? Like, it's just, I feel like it's a deeper question. Don't you feel like that is?
Sure. Emotional intimacy sounds pretty deep.
Right. All right. Anyway, so I looked up a definition because I wanted to be smart. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to have a working definition for us for emotional intimacy. And what I found was a closeness in which both partners feel secure and loved, and in which trust and communication abounds. So a relationship where trust and communication abounds. And I like that because I feel like it simply just means, do I trust you and do I feel comfortable talking to you?
That's good.
Often.
Because when I hear trust, I think of vulnerability.
Right.
And it's hard for you to be vulnerable. And in a way, being vulnerable is being like emotionally naked with a person. I think emotional intimacy is good because that definition, it's not just bound to romantic relationships too. You can be emotionally intimate or close with someone which on a romantic relationship before. I feel like in the past 10-15 years, something that's been big is emotional cheating. People talk about that, like they haven't physically cheated on their spouse, but they've cheated emotionally, and that comes from emotional intimacy.
Yeah, and one thing I'll say is it's not something that comes naturally. Like, anybody you see that has great emotional intimacy, it wasn't just something that, the chemistry was just right. It's something that they intentionally worked on.
Does that mean love at first sight isn't real?
I mean, attraction at first sight for sure.
Yeah.
But see, we teach people how to love us and we teach people how to communicate with us. There's certain people where you grew up, if you come at them a certain way, things is jumping off. Period. Like, if you come up to them, you say something wrong, on sight. You go up and say that same thing to somebody else, and they're going to back away, they're going to cry, right? So we teach people how to love us and communicate with us based off of how we respond to them and how we tell them, hey, don't talk to me like that.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Like, we teach people. So just keep that in mind that it's something that you're going to continually working
through. It takes time to teach somebody, hey, this is what I need from you. This is how I like to be communicated with.
Absolutely. It's a lifetime of work. If you are dating somebody and y'all are blessed to get married, that doesn't mean as soon as y'all jump the broom and get married that y'all are emotional intimacy is going to be on 1,000 because it's not. It's going to be a lifetime.
It's something that you can and should build while you're dating.
Yeah, and you talked about emotional nakedness a little bit, like briefly, and I feel like that's something that we don't really talk about a lot in our culture. I feel like physical nakedness is something that is really big in our culture today because think about it. We grow up, we see it on TV, we see it in movies, magazines.
Yeah, sex is glorified, it's monetized.
Anywhere you look. So to be honest, a lot of times it's easier to be physically naked with somebody instead of being emotionally naked.
It's so true. Yeah, it's much easier to show off your body than it is to tell people your greatest fears or your dreams.
Right. Emotionally naked just simply means you're free to express your full self without the fear of being judged. Right? Because a lot of people know their body is bomb, so they're not worried about getting judged, so they can just get naked like that. But if I tell you my heart, I tell you the deepest, darkest secrets that I have, what are you going to think about me?
Yeah, especially if we're not used to even being that open with God, who is perfect and who loves us. And it's going to be even harder to be that open with another sinner who is going to judge us.
Because a lot of us haven't even seen that in our homes growing up, right? Our parents weren't very emotionally intimate. So it is really hard to get a good example of that.
And even some homes, especially for men or for other Black communities, a lot of times you're punished for being emotional.
Stop crying, boy.
Yeah,
what's that little man? Yeah.
Exactly.
So
do you have a little flashback there?
Anyway, let's move on. We're not talking about me. So in dating, you want to start building towards healthy emotional intimacy. It's something, again, that you're going to constantly be working towards. So that's kind of what I would say. Did you have some other thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think you hit, gave us a great deep dive on emotional intimacy. I think, just to reiterate something I mentioned earlier, was like emotional intimacy is something that you already have in other relationships. It obviously is at a different level when you're, thinking about a future with somebody and marrying them, but you have emotional intimacy with your best friend. Think about who the person is. If you were to get a call right now and someone were to tell you, like, you just won $1 million, or if someone were to call you and say, a loved one passed away, who would you share that news with? It's probably going to be your best friend or someone that you trust deeply. And if anyone who you trust deeply, you have emotional intimacy with them. And it doesn't mean intimacy in an inappropriate way. It just means trust and vulnerability. That's something that you want to have with someone who you're dating. And it's definitely something that you need to have a healthy marriage. So if you're out there, if this is your question, and you're thinking like, I don't really know what emotional intimacy is, it's that closeness, that trust that you have with a close friend.
Yeah, that's good. So are we ready for practical tips?
We're ready.
Practical tips, let's get into it. So it's going to be very practical. Like, we got 7 steps, not even steps, just 7 keys to emotional intimacy, and each one kind of builds off the other. This is not something we made up. This is out there in the world. So just be honest, I didn't make this up. But these are good places to start when it comes to emotional intimacy. The first one is cliche. What does that mean? That just means me and Pauline, or if I'm at the gas station,
or
right?
Surface level.
Right, I'm at the gas station, surface level. Hey, how you doing? Weather looks nice today. Go Lakers, whatever. Like, that's cliche.
Go Celtics.
No. The second one is the facts. And the facts can be broken down in general or personal. Okay. So general facts is talking about politics or talking about sports or other things that are factual, right? But then
like current events.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Or personal is more about stuff that's happening in life personally.
So this is level 3.
Right. So a fact about you is you lived in Boston. Right, that's a fact. Whereas me, I grew up in Baltimore. So those are facts about us that personal, we can talk about, right? You and your boyfriend, y'all can talk about facts about politics or about your personal life, right?
And those are probably things that you guys have done maybe on the first date. So tell me where you went to school,
Right, simple stuff.
Yeah.
That's the second level of intimacy. The third level is opinions. And that's opinions on life. And this is where we can start to get a little tricky. And you have to be careful with all of these levels of intimacy. You want to be mindful of how you respond and how you look when your partner is telling you things, right?
You don't want them to feel judged.
Right, because the minute they feel judged,
they're going to shut down.
It's over. Yeah. It's over. And you're no longer a safe place. Maybe not in general, but with that issue, you're not a safe place. And that's happened in our relationship.
And we've all been there before, like, okay, I'm never going to tell so-and-so that thing again, because the way they reacted did not make me feel safe.
Yeah. And we've had issues we've had that situation where I felt like I couldn't come to you for whatever reason, and we've worked through those, and it's gotten a lot better. But when you get to that place where you lose your partner's trust, you have to do a lot more work to get back to a place of trust. So you want to try to keep that up front. So again, opinions are just opinions about anything in your life that you have an opinion on. The next level is hopes and dreams. So again, you want to be careful when your partner is telling you about this. Don't start saying things that could be harmful, because hopes and dreams is vulnerable. Yeah. I'm telling you what I believe that is going to happen in my life. I want to be a millionaire, or I want a 6-pack, or I want to be friends with this person, whatever it is. I want me and my mom to be close again, right? Like, it doesn't matter. It's just something that you hope and you dream for, and that can be very vulnerable.
Yeah, because a lot of times you can feel silly sharing your hopes and dreams. Like, people can laugh at you and make you feel like dumb for even wanting that or thinking that that's possible.
Absolutely. The next level is faults, fears, and failures.
It's an alliteration.
So literally, it's anything in your life that you're scared of. Man, like, I really don't want to work hard in life because I feel like if I give something my all and I fail, I'm not going to be able to recover from that.
Yeah.
This is like when you're really getting deep with somebody.
Yeah.
You don't just go around telling everybody your fears and failures.
Right. A lot of times we're not even aware of them ourselves.
Yeah. And I'll say this, in a dating relationship, each level low-key shouldn't happen until certain stages of your relationship, right? So you shouldn't be second date talking about fears and stuff. Like, that's a little much.
Yeah.
But if you're 7 months in, a year and a half in, 2 years in, you should be able to be at that place with that person, depending on how fast you guys are progressing emotionally and getting close to marriage, when it comes to expressing your failures to that person or fears.
And even I'll add too, like if you guys were friends for a while before you started dating, you may already be further along in this intimacy
context matters.
Level. Yeah, so if you guys were friends for a little bit, you guys probably already moved past, hopefully, the cliches and the personal stuff, and then you kind of got to start off a little bit deeper.
Yeah, and then 7th, the last level of intimacy, and this is really something that you can't really get to until you're married, but it's legitimate needs. It's your favorite. You want to go expound on that?
No. You did a good job.
Legitimate needs, it just, once you are truly able to be vulnerable with your partner, you're then able to help care for them and care for their needs, right? Because now that I can trust you with my hopes, with my dreams, with my opinions, with facts about my life, I now am opened up to receive love from you in such a more powerful way, and I'm able to give you love better. Because think about someone that you really trust in this world. There's almost nothing that you wouldn't do to help them. Mm-hmm. There's nothing you wouldn't do to care for them. So this is when you're really in that, like, we in it. This is my girl, my guy. That commitment is there. Again, that really won't come around till marriage, in my opinion.
Or it shouldn't. You shouldn't really be relying and needing each other until you're married.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the needs one a lot, probably because it's the one that has helped me heal the most. Because I'm the type of person who, I have a really hard time asking for help. I have a really hard time relying on people just because I've been disappointed in the past. But I know that that's not good. So if that's you, I say that to say you're not alone. But we need to definitely learn to be interdependent on community and on family and on people God has put in our lives. But yeah, I think that, when you are aware of your needs, it also just humbles you and brings you before, the feet of Jesus first. And you say, Lord, I need you. I need a savior. And if you're not able to say that, that's why it takes sometimes people a little bit longer to come to Christ, because they want to think that they can fix themselves. And even sometimes people think they can fix their marriage or fix their relationship on their own. And we really aren't meant to do those things alone, and we end up getting frustrated. So I think that's why I love it so much, because it leads to healing when we're able to recognize our needs.
So those are the 7 levels of emotional intimacy. We'll put them in the comments or somewhere so you guys can look at them. But yeah, that's what we would say on emotional intimacy. I think in the beginning of the question they asked, like, how do you do that in everyday life?
In conversation.
Just in conversation. Just do these things. Like, talk about your opinions. Talk about your fears. Start to be able to open up to that person. If you do that, you'll be great. And if you're single and you're watching this, do it with somebody that you're really close, your best friend.
Yeah.
Like, are you able to do this with anybody? Because if you can't do it with anybody, you're not going to be able to do it with your spouse.
Not anybody, but someone that you trust.
Right, thank you. But that's what I mean. We got it.
Yeah.
All right. This has been Question of the Day. We are loving the questions that you guys are putting in the bio. We're going to try to get to every single one. So if you have a question, make sure you put it in there, DM us, whatever. We're going to talk about it. We're going to keep it real on Question of the Day. We'll see y'all next week.
Bye.